What is up, everybody? It is Steve the Hurricane here, live from home Hurricane HQ, as we have 6 inches of snow on the ground outside. So I'm working from home today, but it's always a great day. Steve the Hurricane at Home Care Evolution, and I am so fired up about this webinar for you here because this is a follow-up to a webinar that we had done 6 to 7 months ago with all types of new data and best practices and what's working in the recruiting and the retention of caregivers. And so it's just absolutely fantastic. So for all of you who are here joining us live, as we're getting started here, there's two things I want to announce for you, and then we'll get right into it. All right. So the first thing I want to announce for you is the next magazine. All right. Every single one of you, you should be receiving the magazine Home Care Evolution Quarterly. The next issue is coming out. It's the first quarter issue of this year, 2024. I am super excited for this issue because we have so many great articles in there. The article that I wrote is actually a two-part article where I'm going to be speaking about and diving deep into who are the key contacts in our referral sources that we need to develop relationships with, and how do you develop the relationship. What are the talking points that you want to have with those individuals? And then one of my favorite articles is actually written by a member of the Home Care Elite Academy, Miss Dawn Bransky, who is a master of the home care business. And she actually wrote this beautiful article, How I Mastered the Home Care Business. That's our featured cover story. And she's going to be sharing all the things that she's gone through in her 10, 12-year career owning a home care business and what it was like in the last 3-4 years for her, which was very explosive in her business. And she's going to share incredible insights so that you too will be able to grow your home care agency to master level status. And when I say master level status, I'm talking about what the Home Care Pulse report recognizes as a master. The second thing I want to talk about real quick is the boot camp is coming up. Early bird discount is going to be ending soon. So you want to make sure you're grabbing tickets. I think we already have like 50 people who have signed up for the boot camp so far. It's max space is going to be running out soon. And if you want to save money and come to this event, you definitely want to get your tickets now because they are, I want to say it's 40% off or 30% off the full price ticket. So you definitely want to do that. It is May 15th, 16th, and 17th. I know Career Plug will be there along with many other businesses as well. These boot camps are the quintessential business event on how to scale and grow your home care business. And that's what brings us to this webinar today. What I'm excited about this webinar and what I'm excited about is when you look at your business and you want to scale your business, you know, this business is very unique in that there's like 3 parts of the business that we have to factor in. We have to factor in patient acquisition. We have to factor in having the right staff to manage everything. And then we have to factor in how we're going to get more caregivers and retain those caregivers and then have them fulfill the work demand that we're creating with our patient acquisition. And that's what brings us to this webinar here, because I'm going to tell you right now what I consider the 3 most important KPIs for recruiting that every single one of you needs to write down, and every single one of you needs to be tracking these numbers. Number 1 is how many applicants do we have coming in any calendar year. So you can go back, look at 2023, January 1 to December 31st, 2023, and you need to calculate how many caregivers applied for the job. The second thing you need to calculate, how many caregivers from those that applied did we actually progress through to having an interview? Because that's important, right? These are conversions, right? So if I had 100 people apply and 50 people came in for an interview, that's a 50% conversion, right? I need to know that number because that's a goal that I should be giving my recruiter. That's a goal that we should be targeting from all the people who apply and get them to come in for an interview. Then the last one is how many people went from an interview all the way through starting to work for us, start of care, right? And even if they only work for us for 1 day, it still counts. They went through the application process, they were interviewed, they went through orientation, and they actually started working for us. That counts as somebody that went all the way through. So using the metrics here, if I had 100 people apply, 50 interview, and 25 start working for me. That's a 25% conversion ratio, which is okay. Not great, but it's okay, right? You need to know these numbers. Now, if you go to the next slide here, this is the reason why we're having this webinar. So this picture that you see right here, this is me in Bermuda last month with the members of the Elite Academy. There's about 40 members of the Elite Academy. We were able to get, I think 14 businesses represented these 25, 26 individuals around the table with me. And when I was going over the business plan for 2024, talking about, goals for the year, revenue, billable hours, patient acquisition, office staff, when do we hire more staff as the business is growing, and what are the positions that we need, budgeting, and obviously recruitment, retention, I had everybody have their numbers. They brought their numbers that we just mentioned, how many applicants, how many interviews, how many people started working for us. And then afterwards, I said, let's talk about strategies now. And so I said, raise your hand. And that's the picture of me where I'm kind of like, raise your hand. How many of you, share, let's mastermind, what are the best recruiting and retention strategies that are working for you? And before I even got a chance to put my hand down, half the people in the room raised their hand and they were all like, Career Plug evolved, Career Plug evolved, Career Plug evolved. The program that you told us about, that we're using it, our statistics have been 3 times better than what they were before, and it completely changed the game for us. And what was changed the game for us? Changed the game for us was my revenue growth last year was 65%. And I was already a multi-million-dollar business, so hearing this, I'm like, this is incredible. Like the feedback was overwhelming. And I'm like, how can we get more people to hear about this and get the stats, and what should we be comparing, and what should we be looking for, and all of that? Because when I see somebody in my group who had a $3.8 million business, a $4 million business, and then last year a 60+% revenue growth, that put them at almost $6 million. That's huge, or put them at $7 million. That's tremendous growth in 1 year. So if that's what my Elite Academy are doing, how can I take that and bring that to everybody else? And so this is where I want to turn it over. I'm going to introduce Mr. John Reedy, who is from Career Plug, and he's going to be going over all of the metrics that we need to be tracking. What are the things that we're looking for, and how can we improve these metrics so that we can have explosive, transformational, dare I say, evolving results in our business? John?
Yeah, thank you, Steve. That was great. I love how you just tie it all together, perfectly, seamlessly. So really glad to be here. I do have a passion for recruiting. I work for Career Plug. I want to give you a little bit of my background before we get into the presentation, because I want you to understand where I'm coming from and my experiences, because hopefully it'll help you understand why I'm a believer in what we do, and really why we achieve the success that we have. So previously, I'm with Career Plug now, but previously I led recruiting teams in healthcare and hospitality. I was a recruiting director of an assisted living company. We had about 50 communities in the Southeast. I was hiring CNAs, LPNs, caregivers, kitchen staff, all community staff, right? Well, I was a user of Career Plug, and so I saw how effective the software was in the iterations that we were using, and it carried us through the pandemic. And we all, if you were in business during that time, how hard it was to recruit, how hard it was to hire, how hard it was to get in front of people. I very proudly say that our company actually grew census during the pandemic. We were taking on new residents when other places were on freezes and couldn't accommodate additional growth, but we had the staff. And that is, just like Steve said, having staff is what allows your business to grow, and you really can achieve really great business outcomes as long as you have the people to do it. So having that experience and seeing the success for myself, I got the opportunity to come over on this side of the team and for Career Plug, and now I work with network level organizations like Home Care Evolution, where like let's have everybody achieve this kind of success, right? And I help people optimize the results. I train people on the software. I look at the data, help people make insights so that you can be more effective in what you do and you get to experience that type of business success. So that's what I'm here for. That's what I work with the Home Care Evolution team on, and I'm here for your support as well. So just a little quick plug. The people I work with on a regular basis are Scott and Leah. So in case you have to leave this webinar and you can't make it all the way through, please, they are your point of contacts. If you've got questions or after the webinar you think of a question, ping Scott or ping Leah, and they can walk you through the software. They can walk you through additional things that you may want to have no information about. But they are your support team for Home Care Evolution, and I work with them on a regular basis. So they are your go-tos. Now, I really just want to start, so to put everything in context, we're going to talk about hiring CNAs, hiring caregivers, hiring people, recruiting people effectively. I want you to experience what the software looks like from the candidate side. So I have put up a QR code, and so if you just take your phone and take a quick second, scan the QR code. Every application that we do is mobile optimized and mobile friendly. So it's going to look great on your phone when you do it. But you're going to see that that application process is very straightforward, very easy to complete. Doesn't require a whole lot of entering, typing with your thumbs, or we don't require a resume. You can, but you don't have to. We want to simplify that process so that we streamline and shorten the application window so that you get more applicants. We make it easy to apply, and then the tools inside our system are going to make it easy for you to communicate with them. So first thing I want you to do is just take a minute, scan the code, apply to the job, see what that's like, see how easy it is. And that'll also let you see how some of these tools work when we start that candidate communication process. So there are tools inside our platform that we're going to talk about that help you communicate with caregivers, CNA candidates, potential staff, so that you can recruit faster and more effectively. But the first step is let's have you experience that for yourself. So I'll just leave that up for another second. And here we go. Okay, so we're talking about getting ahead of your hiring competition. The guys on the screen are the fastest guys in the world. This is the Jamaica 4x100 relay team, set the world record in the 4x100. We know the guy on the left is Usain Bolt, fastest human on the planet. They are successful because they trained harder, they had better practice. Now, of course, they had natural talent, right? But they had processes, they had training. You need talent plus process in order to be successful. And the things that we're going to talk about today, I like how Steve, really built it out like a funnel where it's a progression of how we hire people and how we recruit people, because I look at it, it's like that 4x100 relay, right? The anchor is the application process. It is, we've got the candidate in the apply process, and then that baton is going to get handed off to the interview process. And that interview process is going to get handed off to the screening process and the scheduling process. And that's going to get handed off to the hire process, and that's when we get them across the finish line. So it really is, this 4x100 relay of getting candidates to come work for us. So when we think about how can we be successful, we want to think about how do we make each leg of that successful. But I also want to, before we get into success, I want to also frame up, why is it even challenging, right? We know that pandemic really made it super difficult to recruit. Felt like all the applicants and all the candidates just disappeared. They were all of a sudden, it's like, hey, where'd all those people go? And there are reasons behind that. A lot of them are demographic, where we had, an aging population and not enough people coming into the workforce to make up for the people leaving the workforce. But the other side of that that creates a business opportunity, first of all. But the other side of that is it also creates the demand in the industry, right? So as people are aging, it creates more demand. And if we don't have more people entering the workforce, then that demand is going to outstrip labor supply. And so that all of a sudden it's like all these circumstances get crunched into one time window, and it really accelerated everything. So what I have on the screen now is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and this is the top 10 industries that the Bureau of Labor Statistics has said these are going to be the top 10 jobs for this decade, right? So top 10 fastest growing jobs. You can see about halfway down there, that giant green bar, right? There's some other green bars, they're not anywhere near that big, but just about halfway down that list, home health and personal care aides, right? That 1,100 is not 1,100. You have to multiply that by 1,000. And so that is new jobs yet to come in existence. That is 1.1 million new home health and personal care aid jobs by 2030. That means that is demand that is going to happen. So if you are not preparing for the type of recruiting processes to meet the competition that it is now and will be for the next 5 to 6, 7 years, you are not doing your business justice. So this demand is going to be the new norm for the next 5 to 10 years. There's going to be a huge demand for creation of home health and personal care jobs, and you have to put yourself in position where you can be successful in that type of competitive environment. Apologize for the fuzziness on this one. I did have to steal the graphic. Indeed did not provide this to me, so I had to just rip it off their webpage. Just another, quick emphasis point on the competition of healthcare. So Indeed, first of all, we work with Indeed. We're star partners with Indeed, have some of the highest levels of integration. So we know Indeed very well. We get a lot of data from Indeed. They have a great economics website, and you can see the little URL right down there at the bottom, hiringlab.org. Will tell you a lot about industries and labor hiring and challenges. Well, one of the things they also tell you is the number of jobs posted on Indeed. And so they just came out with their report, their quarterly report on the healthcare industry. And I know this looks like a crayon drawing from my 5-year-old, right? So, but just stay with me. That blue line, you can kind of trace that blue line right up at the top. It says all postings, okay? And so that means that across the US, every industry lumped all together, how many postings are there on Indeed right now? Well, that number is benchmarked against 100 to 100 as of January 2020. So actually February 1st, 2020. So when it goes down, it means there are less jobs, and when it's up, that means there are more jobs. So what we've seen is that it kind of peaked out nationally around December of 2021, and nationally has been kind of on a decline. The other colored lines here are jobs within the healthcare industry. And that green line is the one that we're really concerned about, personal care, home health, right? So we can see that got super competitive, and for a long time was the most competitive sector in healthcare. And that's what you experienced, and that's what I experienced when we were trying to hire staff, and we were like, where did everybody go? Well, it became the most competitive segment within the healthcare industry for hiring. There were the more jobs posted in those in that job title than anything else. So it has slightly moderated, right? But the only position still more competitive than personal care and home health is surgeons, right? We're still more competitive. It is harder to hire CNAs and personal care aides than it is nurses. That says a lot, right? So it is still ultra competitive. It is still one of the most competitive industries in healthcare, and that is what you have to fight against when you are advertising your jobs and trying to actively recruit caregivers, right? So there are just more jobs out there. There's more choice on their part. And so the way that you communicate and the way that you advertise your jobs and this whole recruiting process has to be designed for these types of challenges. If you're going to be successful, you have to meet these types of challenges: the increased competition and the fight for visibility, right? You have to meet those challenges. So what are your keys to success here, right? I got that 4x100 relay. I got 4 keys to success. Number one, you got to get to the right applicants. That's where Steve talked about applicant flow. You got to measure that. You got to know it. You got to monitor it. We got to get to the right people. Number two is we need to automate processes where you can, because we need to save you time and we need to speed you up, right? So anything we can do to automate, remove the delay of the human element. Human element is great. We love the human element, but we want to apply that where it makes the most difference. And sending out an email that says, when are you available, is not the biggest difference you're gonna make. The biggest difference you're gonna make is sitting down in front of someone, actively recruiting them and actively learning about who they are, making sure they're the right fit for your business. That is where your time is best spent, not in that back and forth email communication change, right? So step number 3, more interviews. And more interviews make more hires, right? The name of the game is, if you interview more people, you will hire more people, right? So if you can get more interviews, you will grow your business because you will make more hires. If I give you a stack of 100 applicants, but you only get 2 interviews, you're not growing your business. If I give you a stack of 100 applicants and you get 50 interviews, you're gonna grow your business, okay? So we gotta get more interviews. Fourth piece of this is you have to be able to track your success. Know those KPIs. Steve said, gotta know those numbers. That's exactly what we're gonna talk about. Being able to follow your metrics to make sure you're hitting those mile markers and staying on track to be successful. Little double entendre there. I like stay on track, right? So, all right, so let's take a look. These are actual numbers. I want to talk about results for the Home Care Evolution Network, Career Plug Evolved, and why these results are different, okay? So the first thing we're going to take a look at, this is a number called click to apply rate. What this number is, this is a percentage of the people that look at your job and then apply to your job. Okay, so out of 100 people, 16%, 19% apply to the job. Well, this is the first step of success, because in order to be an applicant, you have to actually apply to the job, and you have to entice people to apply to those jobs in order to get their application and begin the contact process. Again, this is actual numbers. So what we've done here is we've tracked click to apply rates, and I built a comp set. That's one of the benefits of my role, is I get to look at a lot of different competitors and within the industry, right? So these other colored lines, the one not up at top, the one way up at the top is Home Care Evolution, and the success we've had in getting people to apply to the jobs with our Home Care Evolution jobs. So, but what we see is the job performance from the Home Care Evolution Network is just head and shoulders above the comp set. And these are big names. Just for anonymization of data, I can't tell you exactly who they are, but I promise you would know all of them if I told you, right? So what we see is that the jobs that Home Care Evolution has specifically crafted to be competitive in the home care industry are head and shoulders outperforming the competition. This is because Home Care Evolution did the hard work of building out an entire library of job ads that are going to speak to caregivers, make it easy to apply, simplify the apply process, so that you can convert applications quicker. And that's the first part of that funnel, right? Getting people to apply to the job.
So John, I had to jump in for a second here, because this right here, when I saw this is what like had me like fall off my chair, because I know that like I'm not personally, but people who work for me, they're creating these job postings, and I know that we're marketers, we're salespeople. That's our company, right? That's our bread and butter on helping people scale and grow their business. And when I saw this, I was shocked, because in some of these instances, it's like 300% better return, with people responding to the ad. That is tremendous. And so it really does speak to, having an experienced person writing a job ad versus just somebody who's writing the same old job ad over and over again. So I went, because this was the stat that had me like, whoa, like it was, it was jumping off where I was just like, I knew it was working. I had no idea until I saw this. So anyway, continue.
Yeah, well, that's, when people talk about, my applicant flow went through the roof. This is the key driver of that is this is all about persona marketing. And so when what the theory behind the job ads, right, is that when you have the ability to not just write a generic job ad, I'm hiring for this position, please apply, that when job ads are written, that they speak to a specific type of person, they're much more effective in recruiting that person, and you're going to get a better applicant experience. So, having an entire library where you can select the exact right job ad for the type of person you're trying to recruit means that you're going to be more effective in recruiting them, rather than just having a standard job ad that you're putting out there on the job boards. So that translates into what we saw is the average number of applicants. It's great that more people are clicking, right? Great, I'm clicking apply. How does that translate into number of applicants per job? This is over that same 6-month window, and this is applicants per job on average. Again, Home Care Evolution, head and shoulders above everybody else, and that is because those jobs are they're better performing, and it's for the reasons I said. It's about this persona marketing. It's about getting speaking to the caregiver, making it an easy apply process, removing the friction. And when you do that, you're going to get more results to the bottom line. So we can see that's basically a 30% increase over the next closest competitor on that graph of number of applicants per job posted. Again, that's over 3 months. That's thousands of applications. It's not just a handful or just a handful of jobs. That is the entire network over a 3-month window. So let's talk now about, I talked about automations, right? So we're gonna hand off the baton to number 2. Part of that, so we've talked about click to apply rate, we've talked about number of applicants. The other piece of this is about automating the distribution of your jobs. And this is where Career Plug Evolved is really gonna help you, because we have 20 job board partners that we share jobs to, right? You are not gonna have to go in there and post a ZipRecruiter job and an Indeed job and a Simply Hired job and Adzuna and all these other places, Glassdoor. You post it in one spot, and then our software distributes that so that you get increased visibility, and you're going to find people in different places that you otherwise wouldn't find them. That increases your applicant flow. It increases your click to apply rates because there's less competition in some of these spaces. So by increasing your visibility, this is just good marketing, right? Increase your visibility, make it easy for people to find you. You're going to get more responses. We automate that by you posting your job in your account, and then we share that out to our job board network, 20 job board partners. The other piece of the automation is once the person applies, then what we have is a tool called Autopilot in our accounts that is going to automate that back and forth process of, when are you available? I'm busy this day. Are you available at 2 p.m.? Can you meet with this person? That back and forth is eliminated. So what we've done is we've automated from the time of application up to the time of interview, the ability for you to connect with people, do it quickly, and the system does it for you. So when you find a candidate, you take a look at the candidate profile, you click one button, our system then automates the process, sending text messages, sending emails, doing it multiple times, sending an interview calendar where people can self-schedule. And then once they schedule, we're going to send reminders, we're going to send follow-ups, we're going to send confirmations up to the day of the interview. We do all of that. You've clicked the button once. And so what we've done is we've simplified that work, made it easier for you, saved you time, and made it easier for the candidate to schedule and then do the follow-up. A lot of people say, well, I just want to do that piece myself. It's, I want to do the back and forth. That takes time. And in the space of competition, I can't emphasize this enough. The amount of time you take every day you wait is candidate drop off. Every day you wait, you lose applicants, you lose interviews, you lose the ability to make hires. So the faster you can do it and the more consistently you can do it, you will do better in interviewing and hiring. So automate the process, take it off your plate, make it happen automatically so that all you've got to do is spend your time rather than the back and forth in a place that makes value, right? In front of the candidates, hiring people. So let's take a look at those numbers, right? So I want to actually show you, again, this is real data. This is across 30,000 candidates. We're going to take that same comp set that we looked at click to apply rate. The numbers we're looking at now are what we call like scheduling success, scheduling conversion. This is the number of people that when invited to an interview, schedule the interview. And we can see that's pretty across the comp set, pretty consistently around 15%. What that means is that you would need about 6 to 7 applications before you successfully scheduled one interview, right? And we see that across, the 6 months here, right? So that's a very stable number. When you have that back and forth process, the truth is you need more applicants to get the interviews you need to make the hires you need. So you can make more hires out of the same applicant set just by speeding up your process. Well, let's take a look at what that looks like. And I wish I had stretched out the graph here because 64%, if I go back, it's not quite big enough to dwarf the 15%, right? So this is, again, real conversion rates for Home Care Evolution. 64% of applicants scheduled interviews, almost every single, like in August, right? In September and October. We're averaging 60% interview conversion from application to interview. What that means is 10 interviews, you're 10 applicants, you're getting 6 interviews. 6 interviews means you're going to make 3 to 4 hires, right? That is how you are going to grow your business. You're going to get in front of more people, and the automation is going to take that work from you and make you more successful at it. That's the goal, right? And it's not just doing it where you're going to get more interviews. You're also going to schedule them faster. This is actually the time to interview, the time to get, from the time of invitation to when did that interview get scheduled and how long did it take from, the scheduling date. That blue bar again, that 14, 15%, 3.5 days. Again, like I told you, every day is dropout, right? This is across that 6-month average. Home Care Evolution with the automation averaged 1.8 days from point of contact to getting in front of somebody. That is why you are going to win on the hiring and interviewing, is because that person that took 3.5, 4 days to schedule an interview, you've already interviewed 2 or 3 people in that time. Don't do it the hard way. Don't make it harder on yourself. Automate it. Get in front of people and spend your time where it matters. Now, last part of this is Steve talked about measuring KPIs. This is where I think we really shine, where we have the ability to present you a lot of information on how your recruiting performance or how your recruiting work is performing. So our accounts have a BI analytics tool called Insights, excuse me, that's going to give you a full dashboard of all the KPIs you need. It's going to show you your applicant flow, your time to contact, your time to interview scheduled, your time to hire, your individual click to apply rate on your jobs so that you can see which jobs are performing, which ones you need to improve, your conversion funnel, the sources of your applicants, and you can really drill this into specific individual jobs. You can drill it into individual locations if you have multiple locations. This is really powerful. It's BI dashboard inside your account where you can measure and track your success. The other piece of this is that as part of the dashboard, you're going to see historic trends. You're going to see, am I making improvements in my time to contact over time? Am I making improvements in my time to interview scheduled? Am I making improvements in my click to apply rate? You're going to be able to measure that. And if you measure it, then you can manage it to be more successful at it. So this is how you can track your own success. This is what I look at every day when I'm working with partners. We're looking at data. We're saying, this is where we're having a bottleneck. Let's work on this area to remove the bottleneck so we can be more successful in hiring. You can do the same thing in your own account and work with your team on that as well.
John, before you go on, I just want to go back one slide real quick because this is something that I love KPIs, right? I'm a KPI junkie, and I'm not the kind of person. I don't like putting in the data. I don't even like running the report. I have people who run the report and give me the report, right? That's who I am. But I like to look at the data because the data is where I look for inefficiencies. So like from something that I'm actually writing an article in the new home care pulse that's coming out later on this year. I actually submitted the article on tips to increase our profitability without having to necessarily raise our rates. And one of the things that I talk about is making sure we're efficient with where we're spending. So I love all of what you have here, but especially that bottom right part where you have the applicant by source, and it shows where the applicants are coming from. And then you can take a look at it from there. And I can see that if I'm spending a lot of money on places that aren't bringing in candidates. Now, one other thing, and I know it's not a career plug thing, but it's just it's a KPI to take a look at, is also understanding turnover rates. And
Mhm.
if I see that I'm spending a lot of money on something, like I'll just pick just for the heck of it, let's say LinkedIn job feed down here. Let's say I'm spending a lot of money and time and effort to get people from that, but I have a very high turnover rate. Well, if I'm spending thousands of dollars to get caregivers from this source and I have a high turnover rate, I'm not able to keep people from there, or it's not working, I can either save that thousands of dollars or allocate it into something else that is going to give me a better return on investment. And this way we're working smarter, not harder, versus putting $1,000 here, $1,500 there, $2,000 here, and just hoping that something works. This data right here gives me the proof in the pudding so that I can efficiently spend wisely going forward and maximize my return. I love it.
Yeah. And I want to call something out, which is immediate value add, is those 20 job board partners. That's free advertising. You're not having to pay Indeed to get your job seen. You're not having to pay LinkedIn. You're not having to pay ZipRecruiter. That is all of that job advertising and job distribution is included in the program. That automation where we share out the job to all of our job board partners, that's just your standard visibility. So you're automatically going to have a reduced cost because you've increased visibility and increased your channels at no additional cost to that, right? You're not having to sponsor those jobs. So right away, you're winning on that side where you're not having to spend the promotional dollars that you might have otherwise had to spend.
Love it.
So we do have, as Steve mentioned, we've got some really power users who have experienced some great results. I want to share some of that with you. This is from Sadie. I'm going to say it's Canald. So
Yeah, Peggy's Home Care.
yes, all right.
Yeah,
So
I'm holding the picture of her and her team up. I actually went to their office last year in October time frame, and that's a picture in their office there. Phenomenal team. The way that they've grown and the things that they were she was one of the first people who was like, the career plug is the best, the best, the best. So
well, it's kind of a longer quote, but so I highlighted the things that stood out to me. Completely transformed recruiting, right? So they started in October 2023, and she says that they doubled their resume flow and their number of hires are 12 caregivers every month. So we have huge success here and love to hear those numbers. She's been able to grow her business because of Career Plug Evolved and how it has transformed the recruiting process. And then Chris Meem, Freedom Home Care, huge proponent for us. He's had massive amount of success. Again, a lot of words here, so I will just pick out some of the highlights. I talked about that increased free distribution, right? That free organic visibility. The money that we saved in reducing sponsorships was significant. There are some places, again, I came out of recruiting. I know there are places and times that I was spending thousands of dollars on recruiting caregivers and CNAs and LPNs. The money that you can save by just increasing your visibility can be significant. So by having free organic visibility, having that distribution, automatically increasing your applicant flow, you're going to reduce your costs. And then he also reduces costs because of that automated interview scheduling tool that's inside the platform that's going to save you time and give you time back in your week and make sure you can allocate that to what matters. He was using a whole separate platform that did just that, that just did the automated interview scheduling. Well, our software does that. So that's not an extra cost. That's part of the platform. So he got to eliminate that piece, eliminate that login, eliminate that headache, right? And now it's all centralized into one platform, saves time, saves money, and another huge success story with CareerPlug Evolve. So love to see this kind of testimonials, and we know that again from the results, we've got a lot of people in the network that are successful, and so we want to share that with you. Now, if you want to see more, now I just wanted to give you very high level. This is this is the actual network performance. We want to talk about your specific needs, your specific how we can optimize your processes. Scott and Leah are the people to do that. So you can set up one-on-one demo times with them where they can dedicate time to walking through the platform, showing how your account can be customized to your exact needs, and making sure that you are set up 100% for success and to experience these kind of results. So you were going to contact Scott and Leah and set up your demo time to see more of the platform. So I do want to say that we've had a lot of success with Home Care Evolution. It's really been transformational. We can see the results are clear, head and shoulders above the comp set, which is just it's eye-popping, and we want you to be part of that success as well. So Steve, do you want to have any Q&A, or what do you want to open up the floor?
I think there was a couple. I think I saw a question that had come in before. Somebody had asked, do you have a list of all of those partners that you attribute to the job ad? And I see someone said, yes, I can email you the list shortly. All the updates. It updates all the time with more and better partners. The big ones that most people recognize are always there, like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, MyCNA Jobs, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. So, but those are the partners that you basically were referencing there. So, excellent.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I know we're right at the end of our time. But is there anything you want to add in closing, John?
I want to be successful in recruiting. It is all about speed. It is all about efficiency. It is all about connection. And it is all about measuring your success. We have the tools to help you do all of those things and also make it simplified for you to do those things, right? Take the complexity, reduce it, and make it simple. And that way you can get into what is important in managing your business, growing your business, making it easy to bring on caregivers so that you can have the same type of revenue growth that Steve talked about earlier. CareerPlug's here to help you do that. Scott's here to help you do that, Leah and myself. And we're just excited to be your partner. So book your demo. It's take a look and get in there and get your hands dirty. So that's my advice as a former recruiter who is now I've drunk the Kool-Aid, so I am on this side now, and I know it's going to work for you.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I'm just from my perspective as the founder of Home Care Evolution and been doing scaling businesses for the last 12 years with folks. I'm just like overwhelmingly proud of the return that, especially the Elite Academy, and I say the Elite Academy because those are the clients that I work the closest with. But I walk into a room and when we're talking about what's going on in the business, or they're like, last year I grew my business by $1 million, $1.5 million, and it was largely part because we were able to meet the demand. We didn't turn away as many cases. And that's a big thing because you work so hard, and nothing, as a former business development professional myself, nothing takes the wind out of a business development professional more than getting a client and having to tell them we can't staff it and turning it away. And if you can avoid doing that, that is huge. So yeah, talk to Scott. He can give you a demo and go over everything with you and help you to be able to grow efficiently, save money, get more caregivers, and as I say, blow away the competition. So take care, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.